So this is what I have purchased, and if I change anything out or I don't use something, I will let you guys know as we go along, because I am going to be doing this tutorial as my mock-up. So I got the half ball smooth foam, and I got these from Hobby Lobby, and they're just the half ball, and I'm going to try to use that for the head. And then I got some of the burlap ribbon, and I am going to use that to cover this wreath. This is the straw wreath, and it was $5.99. If it's not on sale at your local Hobby Lobby, if it's on sale, then of course you're going to get it for less. And then I'm going to wrap that with this burlap ribbon. You're going to need some glue sticks. I am planning to take my pieces and use them on my Cricut flower pad with my stylus, my ball stylus, to give a little bit of shape to them so that they won't be laying completely flat. And then I've got all of my pieces cut. Now okay guys, I had almost enough to go all the way around. Now I did kind of double it up where I wrapped it as I went, you know, like you would be putting a bandage on somebody. So I'm not going to have to double it, but I did have 2 rolls, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to put this piece on. I want it to land up on the top so that it will be covered. And then I'm just going to wrap and finish continuing around. And then I will have enough left over to make my hanger with it as well. So let's go ahead and finish wrapping. I'm going to glue this up, and we'll come back and start putting our feathers on. Okay guys, I wasn't happy with the way that glue was ending up on there, because this is where I started, so everything is wrapped. But I couldn't find my wreath pins. If you've ever done wreaths, you know what I'm talking about. They're like a U-shaped pin. But I have a couple of hangers from Broken Ornaments that I saved, and I'm just going to use that just to kind of wiggle that down in there and secure it. And you can do this if you have a foam wreath or whatever, or if you don't have any wreath pins, you can do this. And I'm just pushing it all the way down in there. You just want to make sure it penetrates the plastic and gets down into that wreath. And then that's going to help secure and hold that. And then you can just put just a dab, because it's going to be hidden, of a hot glue on top, and let it cool. That way, you know, those pins aren't going to come out, and your wreath wrapping is not going to come off. So now we're ready to start assembly of our feathers. Okay guys, I'm starting out with my first row, and I've just kind of pinned these on there just to give me a guide, because I want to go at an angle. I think I'm going to angle it just a little bit more when I glue this first section down. I just used pins on this just to get an idea of which way I wanted to go with this. And I'm just going to use, and you can pick any one where you've wrapped. I'm just going to use one of these as a guide for my angle to start gluing them on. And I am starting with a white row. So I'm going to put this row on, and then we're going to come back and we are going to do another row just like we do flowers, and we're going to place one in between just a little bit lower so that it covers a little bit more area. So let's go ahead and do that. And I am going to test. I said that you would need this. I am going to test rolling a couple of these just to show and see if this is actually what I want to do. And I think that I do. Yeah, I think that I do want to do this to them. Just so that it gives them a little bit of dimension and pops them up just a little bit. Of course, they're going to lay down some when you put the other layer on there, but it's still going to give that little bit of extra dimension. So I am going to do this to several of my white ones so that I can get this one started, and then I'm going to pull all these out. Of course, I just put those on, like I said, to get me started and give me an idea of how I wanted to go with this. Again, I've never made one of these, so we're playing it by ear. So I'm just going to go and put a little bit of curvature into all of my petals to kind of make them look like feathers instead of petals. And we're going to come back and start gluing them on. Okay, now we've done 2 rows of the white, and we're going to do our red. Now remember, don't worry about any open areas that you may be seeing from an angle, because once we get it all finished and we look at it, we can go in and we can add any feathers where we think that they may be needed. So now we're going to do 2 rows. I'm just going to keep gluing them on as long as they look right. If I change anything, I'll let you know. But basically, this is all we're going to do. I may have to add a couple more rows of red and white because we want our blue to be about half of the wreath. So that's going to be from like here to here. So we're going to see where that red and that white ends up, and if I feel like it needs another row of red or white, then we'll add that. All right, so just keep gluing them on, and I'll keep coming back periodically to show you where I'm at, and we'll see how they come out. Okay, just wanted to update you guys and show you how I'm working that. I'm going with rows of white, and I got a little wide here. So make sure that you're keeping them down tight and you don't go too high. So I'm going to probably be stuffing a few extra white ones in here and maybe a little bit along this row to even it out. But you can see if you keep it tighter, it's going to be better. So, and this may help some of you out. I have hung mine up and I am gluing in that direction, and that's going to help me as I come back up. So if you can work where you're near a door where you can hang it and then work from that direction, that's going to help you in your placement as well. Okay guys, I'm still plugging away at it. Again, I am still just putting on all of these rows. I did my red and white rows, then I went to my blues, and we're bringing that all the way up to where we started, and we will be tucking under there, and then we're going to go and work on the head. But I just wanted you guys to see. Okay guys, I am going to start the head of the eagle here, and so I've got my 1/2 inch or 3-inch cut in half. You can buy them that way, remember that I showed you, from Hobby Lobby. Now I want my head twisted. I don't want it like those photos that I showed you before, and I'll put those up side by side here so that you can see them and what we're going for. And I think I'm going to put it at an angle right here, and then I'm going to start, because I'm looking at the photo. I know that you guys can't see that at this moment, but it should pop up here any second. And it's going to be based on doing the feathers, and we're just going to kind of change direction of our feathers and bring them into this, or petals I should say, and that's going to give us that twisted head look, I hope. So this is where I'm going to do mine, and if it comes out, it comes out, and if we mess up, then we'll see how yours come out. Now I use Gorilla Glue for most of this, but I am now using these because I'm out of the Gorilla Glue sticks, and I don't really want to run to the store. So these, I have 2 different sizes. I have made them smaller, just slightly, than the other. So you'll be able to tell those apart. And I've got 2 sizes to do for the head. So I'm going to start at the base and come up and then work my way around through the head. And I'm just going to, all of this up to about this point here is going to be your regular size right here. These are all going to be your regular size petals. But when you get to the top of the head here, you and up just below the beak, you're going to be using the medium and then the small ones to cover up down towards the base of the beak. And then right here along the edge, the bottom edge, you can use your big ones to fill in and just come straight around the base of the head. And don't worry, we're going to be filling that in. We have a little bit of red showing right here, but don't worry, our feathers are going to fill that in, or our petals. We're just getting the lay of it and bringing it around here to give it that slight curved head look. And then we're going to fill this with the medium and the smalls. So just fill this in completely until you get them worked from straight and just kind of curve around this way. Instead of curving this way like we did all the other layers, instead of going at a diagonal this way, we're actually curving this way with all of these petals coming up. So that's all I'm doing right now. And then we'll go back after we finish. And if we need to cut extra petals, like I can see I need one here and one here, we'll go in and we'll fill those in. Okay guys, this is really shaping up, but I have decided that I want to tuck like maybe half a row of red in here and then maybe a full row. So just take a look at yours and decide what you think it needs. I haven't even curled these yet, but I just laid a few in there, and I think that I want to break up some of that white area right here with just one more or maybe 1.5 rows of red in between the head and this row of white. So make a choice on yours. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. It will look fine either way. Okay guys, here I am. I'm starting my rows of my medium-sized petals, and I'm just bringing them in here, and you can see how I'm just doing just a slightly different angle from that last row and bringing them in. And then I'm going to bring them around, like I said, to about, I don't know, a third, maybe a third of it. You can probably mark yourself a line on there. And then I'm going to start with the smaller. So right now I'm just applying the medium, and then we're just going to go around. I'm going to fill in my spot down here. I'm going to fill those in. And then we will come back once I've filled this in with my medium petals. And you may want to curl some more, curl some less as you come up to the top here. Totally dependent on you how you want to do yours. But I'm going to give mine a good curl on there. And now we're going to start on our smallest ones, and we're going to stop. And I'm just going to give myself a stopping point by pressing in right there so I know where I want my beak. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm not going to give these a ton of curl, but I am going to give them a little bit of curl. But now I am doing just my small ones. Okay, so now this last row, what I'm going to do is bend, even though I've got my curl on it, I'm going to bend back this just like a tab, and then that is going to be my row that goes across the top, and that's going to kind of finish that where the beak goes. I think I'm probably going to have to cut some more for the bottom. I cut 30 of the medium and 30 of the small, and I think I'm going to need 60 of the small to do the lower portion. I have plenty. I have maybe 20 of the large ones left because, like I said, I did cut 60 extra red, white, and blue ones to do my fillers with, to go in areas that I felt like they might need it in my wreath. And so I've got plenty of the large ones to do underneath, but I want the small ones from the beak down to where they meet underneath there. So I am going to cut 30 more of the small ones after I put this folded row on. And after I fold it, you can see right there how that is. And I'm just going to put a dab of glue there and stick that back, just so that it holds it back into place. And that way it'll give it a nice finished edge up here where the other feathers are going to meet. And that we're going to start from the bottom and come up, but we're going to be going in the downward position with these, okay? And so our last row will be folded just like these are, but they will be folded and going down at an angle this way. And that way they will meet up and everything and go around the beak where it looks nice and finished. Okay, while those are cutting, I have decided on the beak placement for mine, and I think I'm going right here. So I am just kind of marking that on that styrofoam ball, and I'm just putting my glue on there. Again, I did use my curling tool and distress that paper out a bit. And now I'm going to bring that in, and then I'm just going to pinch it down to give me that beak effect. So super easy, super simple, nothing crazy or anything like that. And remember, we're going to come up under here with all of our feathers, so that will give us the illusion that it's a 3D beak. Now if you want to do one and pinch it with felt and do it that way, then you could do that as well. So now I'm cutting more of the small ones, and you can see how I folded them and put them in here. I'm doing that with all of the rest of the layers around here. And then when I get to this point, I may even pull these two off. I don't know if I can. I think I can cover them. I should have put those up here and just started going in a downward direction here. So that's all I'm going to do is the same thing with the small ones that I did here. Fold them over to give them a finished look because I don't know where I'm going to be ending. Bringing them all the way to the beak, filling in everything, and then coming under the beak and filling down up under so that the styrofoam ball is completely covered with the small ones from this point. And then we will put the eye on and be complete. Okay, guys. So I've got all of those under there, and I know it looks funky from this direction, but it's the direction that you're going to be looking at them is from here. So right here where these meet, I am going to fold just a tiny bit back on this one, and I am going to bring that in and bring that up to cover where all of those join together and make it less noticeable. Okay, so just work with it, you'll get it. And I kind of pushed the curl back from some of these, and now all I'm going to do is go through and look at my wreath in each color and see if there's a bare spot or something that I don't like the look of, and I'm going to place some of these in there. Okay, guys, I went back and corrected my beak. I had it way back here, and I've got to put a couple of feathers in to cover where I moved it. But bring it more to the front of your wreath. I'm going to stick a few more feathers in mine and everything and try to redo it. If not, I'm just going to have to take the head off and redo the whole head. But I have still some glue to remove here. Again, this was the mock-up, but make sure that you bring your beak further out. It was along the same line. I just moved it further out so that it could be seen a little bit better. And I think that that looks better than it did before. So just work with it and play with it. You may even want to use a temporary adhesive and play with it until you get it where you want and then glue it down. Happy crafting!